So the last show we're going to be talking about is Youjo Senki, or Saga of Tanya the Evil.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Good Lord, this one was just out of nowhere. Oh my goodness. It hits on so many levels, I think. It really does. It has the action in there, and it's great action. I mean, it's definitely very visceral in a lot of ways. The characters are so great, but at the same time, it's very thought-provoking in its own way. And I like that. It takes some theoretical thought process going on here, because it does in its own way kind of deal with religion in some aspects. Obviously, with the fact of the main character coming into contact with this supreme being that wants to be known as God to it and carry the faith and whatnot. And the contention between these two characters, between Tanya and this being X that she keeps calling it, is like the main driving point. And it's interesting to see how things go and pan out. And it's funny too, because at the end of every, at the beginning or end, I can't remember, but they talk about, this is a work of fiction. This has nothing to do with real life and whatnot. And I look at him like, who are you trying to kid? In all honesty, come on. Who are you trying to kid? I mean, when you look at the map that they keep putting up there when they're talking about moving the armies around and everything, I look at that map and I immediately know what I'm looking at. There's no way, shape, or around that. I mean, come on. And the way that like they're dressed with like the adornments that they have, they don't quite come out and say it and whatnot, and they kind of alter it just a little bit. But at the same time, I'm looking at it going, come on, this is like World War I stuff here. Come on. Let's be honest here. This is what we're talking about here. So
yeah, there was another anime podcast that I was listening to, and they were talking about this show, and they said that the flags are like a mixture of like a bunch of real flags.
Yeah.
So I thought was actually really cool how they based a lot of things on actual history, but.
Yeah. Even though they keep saying the disclaimer for it, saying this has nothing to do with. And I'm like, come on, let's be real here. We all know this. Come on. It's interesting by the fact of that also as well, is that you're usually anyone who does something based upon this point in history, if they mix it around, they make it different in their own way, which this obviously has. But usually you get the viewpoint of the other people. You get the viewpoint of what would be, the allies and all that, and the war and whatnot. And you see the ones that we're following now as the bad guys. And now, in this point, it's reversed. And it's interesting to see that, I think. And it's almost humanizing, I want to say. Because in a lot of ways, I know for us in history, we kind of look at that point in history and think of them as just horrible people that they were. Don't get me wrong, but it's almost like, I don't know if for you, I don't want to speak for everybody or whatever, but it's almost like you take them away from humanity. You kind of like separate them apart. They're not quite what you view when you think about that, and taking this story in the way that it has brings it kind of back to that, because you're actually seeing relationships, you're seeing the drive that people have and the survival that they do in this sort of situation.
Yeah.
So, and then you add in just all the magic and stuff that they throw into this, and it's just you don't know what to think. I don't know what to think. I'm curious as to how things are going to pan out, and I'm like, holy crap, this is, I'm at the edge of my seat going, what are they going to do next? What are they going to do next? How's this going to work? How is this going to work? Is it going to mess up? When she came face to face with that one dude, I honestly, I was like, oh, this is, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how this is going to pan out, because he was ready for blood. I mean, when you see him in a submarine, like enchanting his bullets, and you see the design on all the bullets, I'm like, oh. Somebody's ready to do some serious damage here. Yeah. He's not going to be backing down one bit. Yeah. And she almost lost that too.
Yeah, and I kind of, I don't, like, her team was good. Like, her team was the best.
Yeah.
So I can agree with them winning barely, but
I took serious damage.
Yeah, I kind of, because she was so dominant across the whole series, and like the few hiccups she had were him.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like once he was like, "Oh, I got the power of God on my side," or being X, I kind of wish that like she got messed up a little bit more. I do like the significance how she like took him out with his own gun, and like so I like the way it played out, but like story wise, like she's always on top. Like,
but see, I mean, she really came close with that one. In all honesty, it would have gone worse for her had her second in command not done what she had done. Yeah. That would have gone worse for her. So, in all honesty, she was damn close to not being able to succeed as much as she did on that. Mm-hmm. It was just and I think that's why they wanted to do it that way. It was because of happenstance. That one thing that happened, her second being able to come up there and take the shot that she did to be able to for him to let her go, was pretty much the only reason why she came out on top on that. Because otherwise she would have taken way more damage from that than she did.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out like why, like you were saying, whenever a story about this time of history was talked about, usually Tanya's team are the quote unquote bad guys, and for this one we're following them, so they are the quote unquote protagonists. With a lot of the things that they did, I kind of felt like, even though she was following orders, I kind of felt like she was a bad guy. Like,
really?
With a lot of things that she did, I'm like, yeah, she's following the rules, but she's like finding loopholes, and like a lot of people are like,
oh, I get that.
I'm like, it's war. There's supposed to be deserts on both sides, but like I know, like, I don't know. I just kind of.
It's to me though. The only thing I can say about that is that it seems like the way they change things is that instead of what would have been Germany going outward and trying to take control of all these areas or whatever, it seems like they reversed that, and now everyone is trying to take out what would be, so now it's like the roles have been reversed. Whereas before, so they are kind of, I think the things that she does can be viewed as, and you might think of her as the anti-hero in that sense. Yeah. Because the things that she does can be viewed as being bad, but at the same time, they are a necessity in that regards.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
And at the same time, it's like, okay, say for instance, in that one where they went to the capital, that one city, and blew up the munitions building or whatever.
Yeah.
That one person that, in her group was like, well, why don't we just take him out now? And she's like, no. We have to follow the rules. And she made that announcement full well knowing the fact that because she changed her voice to match what her age would be. So full well knowing no one would believe that it was a real threat until it was already done. But at the same time, her way of looking at things is that I'm here, and if I don't do the things that I do, no matter what they could be, it's going to, now I'm going to leave potential people who are going to come back and try to kill me, because at the very end of, was it the last episode, I think? But at the very end, she wanted to go and take out that.
Yeah.
And they denied her. Yeah. See, that is her motivation. That is her stride. That is her focus. Her goal is to end the war. She wants it done. Nobody to kill to try and come and kill her, because she does not want to be faced with that potential risk of dying and being X being right.
Yeah.
You know, that is the overall arcing of this whole thing is the struggle between Tanya and being X.
Yeah.
And who is right and who is wrong. Both of them will not budge. So they keep pushing at each other to see who's going to come out on top. And that's the interesting thing to me. I'm like, how are these things going to play out? How is she going to be able to come out on top? You know, so at the same point, I get what you're saying. I kind of look at her and go, God, I don't necessarily like you in some senses. But at the same time, I'm kind of rooting for her to actually be able to come out on top on this. So it's very hard to say in that regards. It's like, yeah. But to me, that conflict, even in my mind, is what makes it interesting. This is going to be one of those animes that is not going to leave my mind for a while, even after the series is done. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have, like, if it takes like another year or so before like the next season comes out or whatever, I'm still going to be like, oh yeah, no, definitely. You know, it's just like Blue Exorcist. It's something that's going to stick with you.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm ever going to forget Tanya in this whole thing, because it's such a point of contention, you know. Okay. But anything for you or that as far as that goes?
So yeah, as far as like her character, I'm a little hung up. Like, everything that you explained makes sense, and yeah. I feel, I guess, better about it now when I think more about the whole story. Mm-hmm. Like, animation wise, everything's great. The story flows nicely,
especially when they do her main ultimate, her big attacks. The animation on that is just beautiful.
Yeah, I did like how that one guy just wouldn't stop. He just kept coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the series. I don't like. I'm worried about what's gonna happen next episode. Like, because
is there still one more episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't think they're gonna wrap this up. In all honesty, I don't think they can.
Yeah, I don't. I feel like something's about a counter attack is about to start, and then it's gonna end, and then I don't know. But and I keep forgetting about being X. Like, like they just go through their missions one after another, and then all of a sudden something will pop up, and she's like, being X, and I'm like, oh yeah. Things were going a little bit too well.
Yep.
So, yeah, this is a great show. I'm glad.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's all I have for this one.
So next episode is gonna be good.
Yeah, next episode is gonna be good. It ended on a low cliffhanger. Like, not like the attack wasn't happening and then it ended. So I'm not like, what? It's like, I know something's coming.
Oh yeah, something major. Being X is not going to let this end the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, there's something else in the making, and like they keep talking about another ally coming back, and like throughout the entire thing, there's always been like something said about some other power that keeps behind the scenes throwing things out there to try to help against their forces or whatever. And I think that's what they're alluding to the United States as far as that goes. And if I remember correctly, in the war, we didn't enter the war until later when they were already having issues. So we decided to come in. So I think the ending of this is going to be when basically what it is, I don't even know how they're going to name them, but basically the United States is going to be coming in, and that's going to reignite the war. And I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to suffer their first major defeat after this success, and it's because this is now, it'll be like I don't think we'll see the defeat this next episode. I think we'll just see the big forces coming in that they weren't prepared for, because now they're celebrating the fact that they won.
Yeah, those generals were getting really cocky at the end of the. They're all like,
and it's gonna cost them.
Yeah,
it's gonna cost them.
Oh man,
Yep, that's my prediction as far as this is going to happen. If they're because it seems to me like they're kind of following, even though again they say this is not the work of anything real or factual or whatever. It seems like they're following along the same lines as that. And if that's the case in history, yes, the United States entered the war later after all the forces in Europe began to crumble as a backup. And I want to say that was when they landed on. Oh, thinking about that too. That was D-Day. That was when they landed on the beaches of Normandy.
Oh.
And remember where her people are right now. They're at a beach party.
Oh.
So that could go that way if that's what they're planning.
Ah, that is cool.
And if that's the way it works, if that's what they're going with, then that's going to reignite everything, and it's going to get quite interesting. Okay. But that's probably going to be the last episode, which means they'll end it right there. So we'll have to wait for season 2.
Yeah. And I know this series has a lot of popularity behind it, so
yeah.
Yeah.
Is the end game of this all of a sudden the Demon King is going to give up being Demon King and come live in this town with all of them and open up some shop selling? It's like it could have easily played out into like a two-part movie compilation, and it would have been just even better.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what part could they have like stopped it.